The Wild Life of Colonel Sanders. Gunfights, gravy, and a whole lot of cussing. Everyone knows the Colonel. The white suit, the southern drawl, that kindly face printed on every bucket of KFC fried chicken from Louisville to Tokyo. But what if I told you? Colonel Sanders was less Santa Claus and more Old West outlaw with a pressure fryer. Today, we're diving into the real story of Harland David Sanders, and it's finger-lickin' insane. Before we fry this story up extra crispy, don't forget to subscribe to Weird History Food, and let us know in the comments what fast food founder you want us to deep fry next. Now grab a biscuit, pour some gravy, and let's get into the Kentucky chaos. Not born in a bucket. Colonel Sanders was born in 1890 in rural Indiana, not Kentucky. He wasn't a colonel, he wasn't rich, and his first job definitely didn't involve gravy. His dad died when Harland was 6. So, at an age when most kids were playing with toy wagons, Sanders was raising his siblings, running a household, and learning to cook, mostly because no one else was going to do it. By the time he was 10, he could fry chicken better than most grown men. By 15, he was on the road, working as a farmer, streetcar conductor, railroad fireman, and insurance salesman. He didn't just change jobs, he collected them. Like Pokemon, but with more grease and fewer benefits. The mouth of a sailor, the charm of a saint. The colonel wasn't exactly what you'd call polite. He cursed like a preacher on fire. In his own words, "I used to cuss the prettiest you ever heard." He'd drop F-bombs in front of women, strangers, children. It didn't matter. Somehow, no one ever took offense. Maybe it was the white suit. Or maybe he just owned the room like he owned the fryer. He once said, "It's hard for me not to call a no-good, lazy, dishonest SOB by anything else but his rightful name. Tact? Nah." Colonel Sanders believed in candor, spice, and a touch of chaos. A marriage, a fistfight, and a failed kidnapping. Sanders got married at 18 to his childhood sweetheart, Josephine. He was already acting like a grown man since the age of 6, so why not? They had a daughter a year later, but things weren't smooth. Colonel Sanders had a bit of a temper. He lost job after job, often because he punched someone. He got fired from the railroad for fighting under a water tower. He tried to beat his own client with a chair. And once, get this, he punched a man so hard in a barbershop chair that the shaving cream flew off the guy's face. That's not just violence. That's Looney Tunes physics. Eventually, Josephine got fed up. She took their daughter and left. So what did Sanders do? He tried to kidnap his daughter. Yes, like a Southern Fried Taken. Except instead of planning, he just hid in the bushes outside her grandparents' house, waiting to snatch her. The plan failed, of course. Eventually, he just walked in, talked to Josephine and her father, and somehow convinced them to reconcile. That's right, he failed at kidnapping but succeeded at rebuilding his marriage. We told you this man was chaos in a white suit. The gas station gunslinger. By the age of 40, Sanders opened a gas station in Corbin, Kentucky, to finally calm down and settle in. But this wasn't just any gas station. It was located on a stretch of road called Hell's Half Acre, a hot spot for bootlegging, bar fights, and shotgun diplomacy. Sanders naturally fit right in. When a rival gas station owner, Matt Stewart, began painting over Sanders' highway signs, the colonel didn't write a complaint letter. He grabbed a gun. Accompanied by Shell Oil execs, Sanders confronted Stewart. The situation escalated into an actual gunfight. One of the Shell men died. Stewart was badly injured and arrested for murder. Colonel Sanders walked away with a monopoly on gas sales in the area. Because even in 1930s Kentucky, you don't mess with the colonel's brand. Chicken, mistresses, and midwifery. At the gas station, Sanders started serving hot meals to hungry travelers. The chicken became a hit, so he opened a cafe. He hired a woman named Claudia Price to help manage it. Also, she was his mistress, and he didn't bother hiding it. His wife, Josephine, finally divorced him in 1947. Too many affairs, too many punch-outs, too many failed abductions. A few years later, Sanders married Claudia. She'd be with him the rest of his life, and eventually become the first lady of fried chicken. Oh, and in his spare time, he worked as a local midwife. Yes, Colonel Sanders, shotgun-toting, gas-pumping, gravy-slinging maniac, delivered babies. 8 of them. That's right. He brought chicken and human life into this world, sometimes on the same day. Nukes, nickels, and the chicken that conquered the world. When we left off, Colonel Sanders had delivered babies, fired shotguns at gas station rivals, tried to kidnap his own daughter, and created a hit roadside chicken cafe while also cheating on his wife. And somehow, this was just his warm-up. Because next, Colonel Sanders becomes a mid-century Forrest Gump, popping up in nuclear history, reinventing fast food, and nearly starting a one-man war over gravy. Let's fry this thing to the bone. The Colonel and the bomb World War II had just broken out. Fuel was being rationed, and Sanders, always hunting for side hustles, found work as a cafeteria manager. But not just any cafeteria. He was cooking for a top-secret military research facility in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. What was happening there? Oh, just the development of uranium-235, the key ingredient in Little Boy, the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. That's right. Colonel Sanders, the smiling mascot of fried chicken, was serving mashed potatoes at the heart of the Manhattan Project. Let that simmer. This man went from shotgun diplomacy to casually feeding nuclear scientists like, "Y'all want dark meat or light while you split the atom?" The birth of a bucket. After the war, Sanders returned to his roadside cafe. The chicken was still incredible, but everything else? Falling apart. In the 1950s, the new interstate highway system bypassed his tiny town of Corbin, Kentucky. His gas station and restaurant, now stuck on a dead road, started hemorrhaging money. At 65 years old, most people would have retired. Not the Colonel. Instead, he reinvented himself. Again. Legend has it, he contemplated suicide. Truth is, there's no solid proof of that. What's definitely true is that he refused to quit. He took what little money he had, loaded up his car with flour, pressure cookers, seasoning, and a dream, and hit the road to sell his fried chicken franchise model across America. The pitch that built an empire. The first man to bite? Pete Harmon, a restaurant owner in Salt Lake City. Sanders cooked him chicken right in his own kitchen. 11 herbs and spices, hot oil, pressure-cooked perfection. Pete was hooked. He opened the first official KFC franchise in 1952. The name? Not Sanders Fried Chicken, not Harland's Hot Legs. Kentucky Fried Chicken. A name reportedly made up by a sign painter named Don Anderson. Solid branding, Don. Hope you got royalties. Spoiler, you didn't. Chicken by the mile. Colonel Sanders hit the road like a fried food Johnny Appleseed. He slept in his car. He fried chicken in strangers' kitchens. And he made one bold offer. Let me cook my chicken in your restaurant. If you like it, give me a nickel for every one you sell. Simple. Risk-free. Delicious. And it worked. By 1964, there were over 600 KFC locations nationwide. That same year, at age 73, Sanders sold the company for $2 million, roughly $20 million today. He was officially a millionaire. But you know how this story goes. He immediately regretted it. Finger-lickin' legal trouble. After the sale, KFC was bought by Heublein Inc. They expanded globally. They changed recipes. They cut corners. And the Colonel? He was furious. He started suing the new owners for misusing his image. They countersued for libel. It got messy, but lawsuits weren't enough. In 1979, the 89-year-old Sanders walked into a KFC and, in full Colonel mode, threw food on the floor and yelled at the manager for making subpar gravy. His verdict? "This damn slop ain't fit for a dog." The man was a gravy purist, and proud of it. The Colonel's last stand. Despite no longer owning the company, Sanders remained its face. He traveled the world, cutting ribbons, shaking hands, smiling for cameras. He was the Walt Disney of drumsticks, minus the theme park and plus about 300 F-bombs. He even tried to open a new fried chicken chain, but backed off, likely realizing a second chicken war might get messy. Still, until his final days, he cared deeply about food quality, flavor, and his beloved brand, even if he didn't own it anymore. Colonel Sanders died in 1980 at the age of 90. A high school dropout who once lived in poverty, he died a multimillionaire and global icon. And it only took 20-plus jobs, 2 marriages, 1 shootout, 1 almost kidnapping, and 11 herbs and spices. Colonel Sanders, final recipe. Did he start his empire at 65? Technically, yes. Did he live like a Kentucky cowboy with a friar? Absolutely. Was he a saint? Definitely not. Was he unforgettable? 100%. He's proof that even if your life is a chaotic mess of violence, cussing, and roadside chicken, you can still end up on a billboard.